Olfa Hamdi, you are most welcome on the Capital Show. Many people are waiting and eagerly waiting to hear your views. You have had great credentials in business and politics. So now you are running for the presidency of the Republic of Tunisia. Can you tell us what inspired you to run for the presidency 2024?
Well, we'll try to have it in 2024, should the meddling of the current president get resolved, of course. But thank you for having me. It's an honor. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, what motivated me, it's on a personal level, it's a long journey where you find yourself in politics because you're called to make a change and to lead a change, which is overdue in Tunisia. And Tunisia needs economic reform. We need economic freedom. Tunisian youth need jobs. Our country needs an economic miracle, and that's what I can deliver, and that's what I actually believe I can help lead in making that transformation, economic transformation in Tunisia.
This leads me to a question concerning the Third Republic Party, how it differs from the other parties in Tunisia, and what are the cores of this party?
Yes. So I founded the party after I was removed from the position of CEO and chairwoman of the national airline. Removed. I started the restructuring and reforming the airline. At the time, the establishment was against the reform, and therefore we had to part ways in a little bit of a dramatic way. And so when I saw that the people were on the side of reform, the natural way was to found a political party. It's a center-right party called the Third Republic, Al-Jamhuriyya Al-Thalitha. And its primary focus is on economic freedom and economic reform. And when it comes to identity politics, we're saying we're done with the division between Tunisians based on identity politics.
You repeat these words, reform and maybe corruption. So what are your plans? Do you have any strategy?
Yes.
Also to enhance Tunisia's relations with the international community?
Absolutely, absolutely. So currently, actually, Tunisia's GDP growth decreased significantly over the past 2 decades. And right now the prospects are quite negative if we continue in this route of communism being implemented all across the country's policies. And so the key reform is to actually do a U-turn, of course, on communist policies, such as expropriation of properties, breaking the integrity of the central bank, and all of these policies that have been enacted for the past 2 to 3 years or so by the current president, and establish actually more rule of law, more business-friendly environment, and more guarantees to especially international investors. And one of my primary goals is to work on increasing the foreign direct investment in Tunisia, which is really needed.
We talk about women in Tunisia. I know that you care, and there is lots of political prisoners right now. Do you have any plan to save the situation and to advance women rights in this country, where they had been in many great in leadership, we can say?
For a woman like me to be a leading presidential candidate in Tunisia, I'm the product of an overall effort and a lot of work that has been done by a lot of great Tunisian women before me. As a matter of fact, today in Tunisia, of the top 7 biggest political parties, 3 are led by women, elected women, 3 leaders. And so we are in this environment where female leadership at the highest office in the land in Tunisia is a credible alternative. It's no longer a fantasy or something good to have. One of the things I promised, which I care really deeply about, and I believe it's overdue, is national reconciliation in Tunisia. Political prisoners in jail, candidates in jail, people in prison for political ideology. No matter the ideology, this is not worthy of Tunisia, and we have to get everybody out, and that's one of the key elements I'm working on as part of a promise for my campaign, actually.
So we can conclude your assessment of the current president, Saed, performance. How do you see how he is doing? How we have using all this power to to, discriminate others, or like just when you are not with him, if you are against him, you go to jail. Is it fair?
You know, when I look at him and I try to understand the policies and the way he's using the power, he's using the power to enact his ideological beliefs, which are primarily communism, Baathism, you know, the old school, which Tunisians have already turned the page on Baathism and communism in the 70s, and so we're done with that. And using his power to not serve the interest of the people is not going to guarantee his moving forward as an incumbent. I mean, we're pretty sure now he cannot even win this election. And that's what creates the opportunity for a candidate like me and for others as well, but what creates the opportunity for a pro-economic reform, but also pro-economic freedom and free market policies in Tunisia.
Is there any inspiration from Al-Ghannouchi or the Muslim Brotherhood, any influence right now in Tunisia? How do you see the situation?
You mean like what's called the political Islam or the conservative base? The conservative base in Tunisia, they're no longer in power, so they're part of the opposition, right? That's what's going on. And the conservative base in Tunisia is part of the Tunisian landscape. I think the Tunisian people, they held them accountable for their failure when it comes to serving the economy and the interest of the people lately, you know, before. And I would say, for the time being, let me actually put it this way. Of the voter base of this year in 2024 presidential election, 51% of the voter base is below the age of 39. It's a young population that is not attached to old ideologies, even though I'm not condemning those ideologies, but it's looking to live their dream and live their opportunity and create their wealth in Tunisia.
Don't you think that the Muslim Brotherhood activists or organization poses a threat on Tunisia right now?
Not anymore. No, not anymore in Tunisia. Because look, as I mentioned, you know, they're actual. Hold on.
Causing instability.
Yeah. So let me answer the part about the Tunisian people have in the past 13 years, they have tried in power 3 political ideologies or 3 political families. They've tried the Muslim Brotherhood or the conservatives or whatever we want to call them, and they got them out of power, voted them out. They tried the nationalists or the Dastoor, which is the former regime's party, and then they didn't vote for those again and got them out of power. And they tried with Saed, the extreme left or Al-Yasar, Al-Aqsa Al-Yasar, and he's going to get voted out of power. That is a testimonial that Tunisians, first, their consciousness has increased pretty significantly, and Tunisians will reject any radicalism in any form whenever it shows up in power.
Who is now, or how do you assess the Biden administration relationship with Tunisia? Tunisia now in the hands of Saed, and the Biden administration, we see it's mostly weak in the Middle East. So how do you see what is your approach?
Yeah. I would say I've actually heard President Biden in Normandy 2 days ago speak about democracy and the importance of, holding democracy. I would say Tunisia plays a critical strategic role in the overall democratic landscape all over the world. And so if democracy in Tunisia gets assassinated, if Saed continues breaking the election and of course meddling with the election and robbing the Tunisian people of their presidential election and their ballot box, then the silence of the US government of course would become a challenging issue, and it would hurt in the long run the credibility of the United States when it comes to its standing with democracy overall in the world. Tunisia is an important piece of the overall democratic battle all over the world, and so I would hope, and I'm hoping that President Biden, with him mentioning democracy as an important value for the US, for the American people, which is true, and for the world, he would pay attention to Tunisia.
The laws in Tunisia allows to have a double nationality. I mean, like, you're American, you're Tunisian at the same time, or you're a woman. How much is difficult to be in this race?
Yeah, the electoral law is pretty clear. There is no discrimination against women, and there is no discrimination against dual citizens. Actually, there are 2 million Tunisians abroad who are voters as well in the overall presidential election and who vote internationally, including in the United States. And so unless the current Saed, of course, unless he starts discriminating against actually, if he discriminates with the dual citizenship and the age limit, he would be eliminating over 4 million Tunisians of their constitutional right to actually be participating in this election, which is unacceptable, and the Tunisian society and institutions would not allow such a thing.
What will be your agenda if you be elected? In your neighbors, I mean, especially the Gulf states, like United Arab Emirates has a major role in humanitarian aid and support provided to Tunisia. How do you see the UAE foreign policy, and what if you win? How do you build this relation and stress on it?
Thank you for the question. Look, Tunisia's potential for GDP growth is a minimum of 7 to 10% within 5 years. So right now, as we're actually not having that, we're missing a huge opportunity of investment for our neighbors and friends. In addition, Tunisia has been hit, and the Tunisian people have been hurt pretty harshly with climate change, and which led actually to small farmers being hurt, women, a lot of women from rural areas having to migrate to the cities and work in precarious informal economy jobs. And so we have a lot of need when it comes to helping the Tunisian people at this point, from a humanitarian point of view, but also from an investment point of view, especially and economic-wise. And so I believe that this area is an amazing, exactly, yeah.
Saudi Arabia.
Yes, it's an amazing opportunity for our nations to come together culturally, economically, humanitarianly, people to people, and government to government. And I'm hoping we can turn the page in Tunisia with, Tunisia is a very political town, I have to admit. Yeah. And so I'm hoping we could tone down the overall polarization when it comes to our relations with other countries.
What is your point of view on Iran and on the influence Iran in most, for maybe 4 or 5 countries? Yes. What is your point of view of how Iran is investing or is supporting Hamas? And especially Khamenei said a few days ago that it was a revenge for the killing, the 7th of October, what a revenge of the killing of Qasem Soleimani. Yes. So how do you see, what do you do about Iran?
Well, I worry about the current Tunisian policy led by Saed, which removed visas for Iranians, for the regime, which made actually Tunisia right now a land for some diplomatic negotiations of Iran with other countries and other nations. I worry about that when it comes to the safety and the stability of Tunisia. The reason I worry about that is because Iran is a country that's at war, all right? I hope that they'll choose the side of stability and the side of complying with the world order we need and the peace we need all over the world. But if they don't, it's their internal policy. I worry about my people and I worry about my country turning into a platform that is weaponized and that is used by a regime that is in war, right? At war. And so diplomatic...
Would you negotiate with Iran?
We have nothing to negotiate about.
Or you consider it as a pariah or like a terrorist?
We have nothing to negotiate about. I do not believe in Tunisia actually getting anywhere close to turbulent zones and zones where war is happening, and regimes that are actually on the side of war and not on the side of peace. And I also say that Tunisia is a member of the Arab League. The pact we have in the Arab League is that all Arab countries are bound by the superiority of security in the Arab land. And therefore, I think Arab stability and security in the Arab land is, for me, as a leader in Tunisia and as a presidential candidate, of higher importance than Persian peace. And so we have to not mix things around, right? Yeah. I think we should prioritize peace. Whoever is on the side of peace, we can work with them. Whoever is on the side of war,
what is finally your point of view or your approach toward the Abraham Accords? So you believe in the existence of Israel as a member of the United Nations?
Very good question. So Tunisia has had a formal position of a two-state solution since 1964, all right? Currently, Saed did the U-turn on that, and he doesn't even recognize the existence of the two-state solution. As a matter of fact, he considers anybody that recognizes the two-state solution as a traitor, which I think is an extreme position that is only dividing Tunisians, that is only creating problems for Tunisia that we don't need. So
even he don't stand with Saudi Arabia?
No, not even with any Arab country, as a matter of fact. Tunisia became under, exactly. I mean, Tunisia used to be the leader in advocating for peace into the Arab world. The Arab League was actually headquartered in Tunisia for over a decade, and that was one of the most peaceful eras of the Arab history. He's doing a U-turn regarding that, and that does not represent what the Tunisian people stand for. Tunisians are always on the side of peace. And of course, on the side of the Palestinian people who, as a woman, as an Arab woman politician, I am really concerned that we have not helped enough Arab Palestinian women. We have not opened borders to refugees. We have not sent enough humanitarian aid. We should have helped these women as much as we can.
How do you think the war in Gaza will end?
I think it should stop. I mean, I can't make predictions, but for me, my position is very clear. First of all, in Islam, there is nothing that mandates for women to fight wars for any cause. All right. So I got very upset when I actually saw people trying to legitimize women fighting wars. No, there is nothing that mandates Muslim women to do so. I think we should have done a better job sending aid, and we should have opened borders to Palestinian women and children to actually not be.
You're blaming Egypt right now?
Look, I don't put myself in other people's shoes. They have their own internal context to do. But I think as Tunisia, had I been a leader, I would have helped, actually provided safe passage and safe land to Palestinian women and children.
And you support the two-state solution?
And the two-state solution.
Olfa Hamdi, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for coming to the University Club and being a guest for the Capital Show. Hope to see you a president maybe one day, and wish you all the best.
Thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate it.
Hey, Maria Malouf here. Please click to like and subscribe to Maria Malouf TV YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.